in the budget process. Mayor and council, you have set the tone and parameters for this process, and your guidance and direction as we've gone through have been key for staff to put this preliminary levy together. In the several work sessions that preceded this meeting, we looked in a lot of detail at the various budgets and the priorities for the city, and this presentation tonight is really a summary of those sessions. So following this summary presentation, we will be asking that the City Council consider the adoption of a resolution establishing the preliminary property tax levy for 2026, as well as setting the date for the annual Truth in Taxation meeting. So that's what you can expect this evening. So we'll start with this table. This summarizes the property tax levies based on the proposed preliminary budget. The total city levy is proposed to be $10,498,579, which is an increase of approximately $251,000 or 2.45% from the final 2025 levy. As a service-oriented business, if you want to call us a business, our costs are largely driven by employment cost. Our budget projections for 2026 include a 3% general wage increase with scheduled step increases and an anticipated 15% increase in healthcare benefit costs. These wages and benefit changes are partially offset by the elimination of the Economic Development Coordinator position. Please note as you review this table that both the Becker Community Center and the EDA are included as part of the general fund levy on this slide. For the community center, this is consistent with 2025, and the EDA levy is being incorporated into this general rate levy in 2026. This will show on the tax statement as part of the city's overall tax rate, and it will eliminate the special taxing district that is showing up currently on people's 2025 tax statements. So it will just be more clear where that tax is coming from, and it will be combined into the general rate for tax presentation. Transition aid, you'll see a line on here for transition aid. That was planned conservatively in 2025, anticipating that we would not be eligible in 2026 based on the parameters of that legislation. This has proved to be the case. We are not eligible for that in 2026. So given that approach, we have some of that funding from 25 that we can allocate into both 26 and 27, and that is how it is reflected in this preliminary levy ask. This slide summarizes the 2026 capital levies. The CIP levy at $2.767 million is broken out as noted on this slide. The largest portion really relates to public works and streets, which is as expected. Those are two very big capital needs that the city has. Each of these proposed levies is really the result of a very detailed analysis of capital improvement needs over the next 5 to 10 years. So rather than levying for a specific project as identified, these levies support the overall long-range plan as well as providing adequate reserves for the city in case of items that would come up that were unexpected. Now let's look at tax capacity rates. After the levy is put together and the dollar needs are really assigned and identified, the next piece that's needed is the city's net tax capacity. And that we get from the county. So each year we do have a larger property owner who tends to appeal their valuation from the state. And our initial evaluation assumptions are based on a rather conservative approach. In prior years, some of those appeals have not settled until potentially mid-September. This year, the largest of those companies that appeal was Northern States Power, and they did settle in August, so we have a fairly good understanding of where tax capacity will end up. Including the other tax capacity estimates from the county, the preliminary tax capacity rate is at 49.378%, which is a 0.693 point decrease from the prior year's rate of 50.071. As a reminder, these really are preliminary estimates from the county, but we feel like we've included them at a conservative level, so we shouldn't have a significant rate change from what we are projecting with this presentation. This is more of a graphic presentation of the material from the previous slide. It really just kind of gives you a flow chart of how these items move from the dollar value to the tax rate. And it again shows a 2.45% increase in the net local levy, and that results in a tax capacity rate decrease from 25 to 26. This chart really summarizes the tax capacity, the levy, and the rate over the last 5 years. So just a couple of key takeaways. The tax rate had increased annually over the past 4 years as the tax levy dollars outpaced the increase in tax capacity. That really was as expected, given what we knew was happening with valuations for our biggest taxpayer. But in 2026, what we're seeing is that the projection is the tax capacity will expand at a greater rate than the dollar increase levy. Therefore, we're seeing that tax rate decrease year over year in that combination of factors. We do look at this as part of our long-term plan, and we evaluate changes and expectation as we go, but I think this is a nice year-over-year comparison to keep in mind. Now let's look at what these tax rates mean to a property owner. If you look, we're going to start with residential here, and I just picked one line to focus on, the $300,000 valuation for a residential property. So residential property owners with no change in their market value from 25 to 26 should experience a 1.4% decrease in the city portion of their overall property tax bill. For a home valued at $300,000, that is a $19 reduction. In the event of a market value increase, the city portion of the taxes payable would increase from this example. So we'll look at a couple other examples as well. This graph shows how the monthly taxes on a $350,000 home are utilized by the city. The largest portion of the monthly tax of $138 would be $78.63 in this example, and that would be used for general government, which includes public safety, which would be things like police and fire. It includes public works, which would be your streets, parks, and trails. And it would also include the portion of the community center that isn't funded by user fees, as well as our economic development group. The second section, the yellow section of this graph, is the dollars that would be associated with capital improvement. So that would be 37 of the $138 in this example, and that would pay for capital projects that add and maintain the value over time of our parks, building, and infrastructure. And then finally, the top section, the gray section, represents how much would go to pay for our debt service levy. And those are things that we would be paying for principal and interest on funds that we've borrowed over time for projects that really are impactful over a longer period of time. Switching from residential impact to commercial and industrial, and focusing here on the 2026 tax on a $5 million market value property. Such a property would experience a $687 decrease if their property value did not change from 25 to 26, which would be a $57 a month decrease. If that property had a 5% value increase, the tax increase would be roughly $149 a month. And finally, it's very easy to talk about tax amounts with market values that are not changing because it gives us a nice baseline. But we do have some expectations from preliminary county numbers that I wanted to share with you, and they show what is more likely to happen with valuations by category. So overall, our residential housing is likely to have a 3% value change from assessed 25 to pay 26. So on a $450,000 home, this would be about a 1.9% change in the city tax, which is $42 annually. Commercial valuations are expected to increase 5%. So if we looked at a $7.5 million valued property, this would be equal to a 3.5% city tax increase, which would be about $217 a month. And finally, on the utility side, our state assessed property remains a significant portion of our tax base, although it continues to become a smaller percent of our local levy. The value for this, based on assessed 25 to pay 26, is decreasing by 0.4%. This sounds like a small number, but it impacts taxes payable by $120,000. So having summarized and given some examples of how the preliminary levy will impact our different taxpayers, I just really wanted to thank you for your time and attention to the budget process, not only tonight, but throughout the budget cycle. Tonight, however, is a significant milestone, and as we wrap up, if there are additional comments or questions, I would welcome them.
All right, thank you, Lori. Questions from anyone?
You were talking the anticipated value increase or slash decrease. Is that a number set, or is that what they are thinking it's gonna be?
We do have the values back for 3 of the utilities. I think there's one still outstanding, and it's one of the smaller ones. Maybe it's Connexus that is still outstanding. So we're pretty close on that number to
On the
what they have settled on with the Department of Revenue.
How about the residential ones? Is that rate, the increase definite, or?
It seems pretty close. There's always a few things that come in very late in the cycle for homestead credits or, people who are applying, veterans who are applying for hardship. Some of those things, those come very late, but I do believe that those are fairly solid numbers that we've gotten from the county.
Okay.
Any other questions for Lori? All right, thank you very much.
Okay, so with that, we would be looking for a motion and second to approve Resolution 2570, which sets the preliminary levies for the city, and it also sets the public hearing date for truth in taxation for December 2nd, 2025 at 6 p.m.
All right, so we're looking for a motion on Resolution 2570 to set those levies and the truth in taxation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mike, a second by Becky. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please state no. That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to letter B. We have Mr. LaRue talking about the post office.
Mayor Kobinger and city council member staff, along with the mayor, been working with the post office to identify a temporary location for some outside post office boxes once the current post office building is demolished and until a new location is found. This agreement was provided by the post office, has been reviewed by the city attorney. There were no recommended changes. Perhaps the mayor can go into more details about the installation, but it is still fluid. They are still working looking at another location at the same time, not owned by the city. And if there's a potential cost, it would be pouring concrete, which we estimate to be less than $2,500. So with that, do you have anything to?
Yeah, I think Greg summarized it well. Phil has been working with a person at the post office, and then I was working with someone different, and then they added a third person in who's trying to work out, they're just looking, I think, for a backup plan, but this was sent to us, as Greg mentioned, reviewed by the city attorney. We don't really have a concrete answer yet, but we know that, yeah. Ooh, I didn't even try that. Wow, that was good. Girls, write that down. I did a pun, okay? So, I mean, this is, I told them we would bring it tonight for council's approval, and then we'll sign it and send it to them, and I assume find out within the next 6 weeks where they're going to place them temporarily. Still saying that, I was asked where the rumor started that the post office was leaving Becker, and I said, well, you said you were gonna have retail and you haven't leased a spot and it's 6 weeks away, so you can blame me for starting that rumor, I guess, because I don't know where you're gonna magically find that spot. But hopefully we've turned a very small corner and at least would have a temporary location for the PO boxes, because in their last communication, they stated that this was the city's idea, that they just wanted to make everybody go to Monticello to pick up their mail. And that was their plan.
Wrong.
So, I'm not happy about any of this, trust me.
Well, they're the ones that announced it on the news.
Yeah, it is beyond frustrating. But at the end of the day, we have businesses that would incur thousands of dollars of expenses if they had to change their address. They can't use mailboxes, so out of a very crappy situation, I think this is our best temporary plan, and it could all change by 9 o'clock tomorrow, to be honest. But as of today, right now at 5:33, I think this is our best option, so I can try to answer any questions if you have any. I will say Phil got to experience it firsthand last week.
Sorry to hear that.
So made me feel better, because I knew it wasn't just me, so it's like you couldn't make it up if you tried, but this is where we're at today.
And they're actually searching a second location?
Yeah, so I was contacted by a local business owner, who actually sent me an email and said, just CC'd me on a lease proposal. So then I got a hold of my guy in Colorado, and I said, to Colorado Greg, as I call him, I said, why is Colorado Brenda trying to do another lease? And he said, well, that's just in case it doesn't work out with you. And I'm like, okay. So that's where we're at in this relationship with our trust level, so.
Okay, interesting.
So it was both basically a zero cost option, so I don't know why they're looking for two. It's not like we're not costing a local business any money for this, and so I guess they'll pick out of the two. I think ours was a little more straightforward and.
Agreed.
All right.
So we would be looking for a motion on resolution 2568, which would approve a memorandum of agreement with the United States Postal Service for the temporary location of PO boxes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Rick, second by Mike. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Okay.
Anyone opposed, state no. That motion carries. So we'll get that sent off and see what happens. All right, letter C, Civic Rec Agreement. Ms. Thomas is here to talk about that. Welcome.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for having me tonight. I'm looking forward to sharing my journey and learning more about Civic Rec to show you guys all about it. So the Becker Community Center is dedicated to providing high-quality programs, services, and experiences for our community. As our offerings expand, including childcare programs, facility rentals, fitness memberships, and special event programming, our current management procedures are no longer sufficient to meet the growing demand. We currently use a combination of single task platforms such as JotForm, which is an online digital form similar to something like Google Forms, and paper tracking. For membership management and our point of sale system at the front desk, we currently use a system called CSI. CSI does not have the capability to accommodate all the modules that we would need to offer all of these programs. To continue delivering excellent services and improve efficiency, it is essential that the community center adopt a modern, comprehensive management platform. And through our research, Civic Rec seems to be the best choice. Civic Rec is an all-in-one, user-friendly system designed by Parks and Rec professionals for Parks and Rec programming. Civic Rec is related to Civic Plus, which the city is already utilizing. Civic Rec is used by St. Cloud, Hutchinson, Ramsey, and a number of other local Minnesota cities for their similar programming. By adopting Civic Rec, the Becker Community Center will be able to streamline key operations, including childcare management. We'll be able to do online registration. We'll be able to track attendance, and we'll be able to do payments online, self-led by parents. We can also do auto payments. Right now, parents have to call in and either give a credit card number over the phone or drop off a paper check. And our administrative assistant is spending a lot of time doing paper invoices and emailing them, whereas through the system, it'll all be generated. Facility rentals will also be streamlined. It'll be a centralized calendar that anyone who has access to Civic Rec will have permissions to see. It will be able to eliminate any conflicts. I've only been here about 4 months and I've already seen some conflicts with our BAC rentals. So this will streamline that. It'll also allow people to request and get approval promptly for a facility space and then also pay for that space over the system. Right now, again, our system is that they fill out a jot form that gets sent to our front desk staff who then call them to either collect payment or wait for a check to arrive in the mail. So that, again, this would streamline that process. Special events and program registrations would all be able to be done online. There would be a database of all the programs that we're offering, all the facility spaces that are available for rent, and we can include information on sponsorships and a bunch of things, all through this online platform that would be linked to our website. So anyone at any time can help themselves to logging on and seeing what kind of programs are offered here in our community and have access to register for them or find out more information before registering. Right now, we do a lot of paper flyers hung up throughout the BCC, and if you're not a BCC member or frequent there, you're not learning about those things as much. Membership and payments will be able to go through this system as well. Again, being able to completely register for your membership online at any point in time, self-service, and then it would also be able to do auto payments and things that we do currently see with CSI, but it will streamline that a little bit more as well. So in addition to operational benefits, it'll improve customer satisfaction by giving patrons the ability to access services anytime and anywhere. The system's modern interface supports mobile devices, online payments, and self-service options, reducing barriers for participation and increasing community engagement. Financially, Civic Rec will help the community center operate more efficiently by reducing manual tasks, minimizing errors, and providing accurate data for decision making. One of the things we talk a lot about is that in order to make data-informed decisions for moving forward, we have to pull paper files from years back to track progress over years. Whereas a system like this would be one centralized database that, once we get a couple years under our belt, I will be able to, anybody really, could go back and look at the data on how programs performed and make an informed decision going forward. Even from a park standpoint, we talked about at the Parks and Rec Committee last night, being able to look at our user groups in our parks and make data-informed decisions on where we should maybe prioritize our focus because we have a lot of user groups that are using a certain space. Or maybe on the other end, we don't have a park that's getting used as much or rented as much. How can we get that out there more? By adopting Civic Rec, the Becker Community Center will align its operations with current best practices in the recreation management, strengthen its capacity to serve the community, and ensure long-term sustainability. This investment is a proactive step towards meeting the evolving needs of our residents while maintaining high standards of service that define the Becker Community Center. We currently have a contract with CSI that was signed in June of 2019. The contract auto-renewed in June of 2024, and it will expire in June of 2029. CSI costs us approximately $13,008 annually, and that's just for our point of sale and for our membership management at the front desk. Civic Rec was originally offered to us at about $15,000 annually. We started at 22, I got them down to 15, and we continued going down from there. However, Josh and I had conversations with them about how we currently have CSI, and if we want to adopt Civic Rec, it needs to be affordable at a point where we could hold both of them for a short amount of time. So Civic Rec came back to us with an offer of the initial term would be $7,588,000 due at signing. And then our year 2 would be $7,350 going forward. And this would be included in our operations budget for the Becker Community Center. So this has been discussed at the Parks and Rec Committee meeting with the finance team and other city leadership members. It also was discussed at the mayor's local government meeting where we had city and county and school professionals present that all agreed that they would like to see something like this moving forward. Some of the things that we would see are immediate cost reductions. Our JotForm platform, we're paying $2,000 annually to hold, and we'd be able to eliminate that immediately. It's the month-to-month thing. There's no contract, so we would eliminate that immediately. And then we also pay $828 annually for a contact management system that allows us to send mass texts and mass emails for emergency situations, which we would be able to do through the Civic Rec system as well. So we would eliminate about $2,800 annually out of those unneeded subscriptions. And then in June of 2029, our CSI contract would fall off, so we'd be left with the $7,350 annually with Civic Rec. So at this point, does the council or mayor have any questions?
Yeah, so the 75, the 73, weren't those just the first couple of years, and then they were gonna go back to the full meal deal, the 13,000 or whatever after the 2 years?
So the agreement only says that they built us this package and they've made it kind of clear that we can use all the things that are offered in it. We did try and negotiate to say we're really going to use it for childcare and we're really going to use it for facilities management, but they've made it clear we will have access to the whole package and we just got a really good deal on it, is essentially even what they said today. There is, in the contract, there's a 5% escalator, but there is nothing about that we will go up to 15,000 or even 12,000 after the CSI contract expires.
So that's 7,500, that is our price for the full package, okay, so.
Correct.
Okay, wow, that's.
Yep.
Did you ask CSI if they would be nice and let you out of their contract?
I did ask them very nicely if they'd let us out, and they said they will if we pay the full price for the remainder of our contract. So really not a buyout option.
Are they owned by the post office?
No, they responded.
Oh, sorry.
And I do want to say I did some market research on other platforms that we could potentially explore from the community ed world. And one of them was to offer the same stuff and not the same modules and really not even serve our needs quite the same, we'd be looking at least $6,500 for another system that a lot of schools use. It's called Our School. And that alone, I mean, if we're at 7,350 and then you deduct the savings that we're getting to, we're sitting better with Civic Rec than we would be with some of the other platforms that I looked into.
And then, and thank you for, getting back to me with the other questions I had. If you just want to maybe kind of highlight the implementation strategy, so obviously we have users sitting in one system, we need to get them to another.
Sure.
Sounds like because we're not gonna use part of it, we're gonna continue to use CSI for a while, so we won't have to, can you just kind of give a high level of, kind of how we plan to
Yeah.
roll this out?
Absolutely. So, because we will be operating on both systems for a couple years, we can end our time. We will continue paying CSI through the end of our contract, but we can choose to not use CSI at a certain point if we decide to do that. After conversations, we've decided that we're going to keep, at least for the first year or two, CSI as is with our membership management and point of sale. This is all focused at the front desk. I like to clarify that because that's one of the points we make is we want to get our leadership team comfortable with Civic Rec and using it, our childcare coordinator using the childcare side of things. I'd use facilities, special events coordinator doing some of the special events and class programming kind of stuff. But for our membership management, we're going to continue using CSI for at least a couple years and then integrate it into where our membership database is completely in Civic Rec. So how that will work is when we're ready, we will contact our customer success team through Civic Rec and initiate importation, it's called. And what they'll do is they'll help us through the whole process of all we have to do is build in our membership options, so that's family, single, dual, the different membership plans we have. And then they'll transfer the member information from CSI into Civic Rec. There is a fee for that, and that's about $3,000, and that will be paid at the time that we choose to transfer it. So if we stay with CSI until 2029, we won't be paying that fee until that point. But they'll help us through the whole process, and they're just pulling information on like contact information, date of birth, address, that kind of stuff for the members and transferring it over. No credit card information or anything like that gets transferred.
And I got one other question. So let's just take the park reservations, for example. There's the back end piece of that where we go in and we say, okay, we have City Park, it's available these days, these hours, that kind of thing. Then there's the front end piece where our citizens can go and register for one of those parks. Currently, we have the Becker Community Center website separate. Does that mean we would now have to bring that into Civic Plus as well? So Civic Plus could host that in order to be able to be the other piece of that? I guess how would these, I'm just wondering how the two separate things would talk otherwise, because that may be an additional cost that we could save as well, because we'd probably have separate hosting, I'm assuming, for the community center website. And now if the new one has to be able to show what it, show that, I would imagine we would have to bring that in as well. Is that accurate? Or? So
the Civic Rec registration page can be built in as like a link attached to our current BCC website. We had the option we got a quote, well, we didn't get a quote, but we were informed about an option to create an entire website through Civic Rec. I believe the cities is through Civic Plus. And right now our our website for the BCC, because we run our own website, the cost is minimal. So we're not saving a substantial amount going that way. Whereas, we have modules on the top of our screen at the BCC, and we can create one that says like register for programs here, and it would go right to that registration page. So it wouldn't be like a full-fledged website that we wouldn't have to have created.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you will be utilizing the new system for park rentals,
Yes.
like
Yep.
soon?
So assuming if this is approved, then this will roll out January 1.
Okay,
There is an implementation period that it
Yep.
takes, a while. So the goal is January 1 with the system. And then one of the key points there is our registration for Adventure Zone for this upcoming summer and next school year will release in February. And so we want that January time period to really get parents used to create a profile, walk through how to use it. I've talked with Josh about even creating videos, like actually me recording my screen of how to go through the process. I know there's things like that already, but it'd be nice to just see the exact examples of how to register for Adventure Zone and those kinds of programs. So we'll be doing some marketing and education January to February, but it'll be live in January.
That's great. I'm for it if you can just sign up for a park online, because you're right now it's,
Well, I personally have an experience with it, and it's,
yeah, I had,
the current system I do not like.
right, exactly.
Do we have any more questions?
Anything else for Randy?
So if there's no more questions, I would request that the council motions to adopt resolution 2569, allowing the recreation services manager to enter into an agreement with Civic Rec as a primary programming management system for the Becker Community Center.
All right. Does anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mike, a second by Becky. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right, now we're on to the city-owned rail spur maintenance. Mr. Lisson.
Tough to compete with that last one, I tell you. Rail spurs, though, that's exciting stuff.
It is.
So as you guys know, the city owns and maintains a private rail spur through our industrial park. It serves several of the businesses in the industrial park. Annually, we have it inspected by a company called Railworks. We've used that company since I've been here, so I just mentioned it that way. They do work for Liberty Paper and Excel as well. So they do an annual inspection of the spur, and then they will create a report on the findings that they have from that inspection. I included their inspection report from this year in the packet for your review. There were some minor repairs, some rails that need to be replaced, and some things they listed. So to ensure that that city's owned rail spur continues to work and is in good, safe condition, I am recommending that the city proceed with having Railworks complete the repairs as outlined in the spur inspection report. If approved, I did talk with Railworks. They said they would do their best to try to work in the repairs this year in the fall. They said it's very dependent upon weather. They have a fairly full schedule, and I said, well, if you can't do it, then I won't work on getting it approved now. I will wait and we'll do it a double next year. They said, no, we'll honor the price. Even if we can't get it now, we'll do it in the spring as is if you get approved. So they will try to get it in this year. If they don't, then we'll punt and do it in the spring. We do have sufficient funds in our rail spur CIP to cover the cost of the repairs that they suggest in their inspection report. And so tonight I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve resolution 2567 that would allow staff to hire Railworks to complete the repairs to the city-owned rail spur as outlined in their spur inspection report for a price not to exceed $30,000. And I'll stand for any questions.
All right, any questions for Chris?
That's a necessary evil. I make motion we approve the repairs.
Yeah, I'll second. All right, we have a motion by Mike, second by Rick to approve resolution 2567. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're on to number 8, the consent agenda.
Mayor Colbringer, city council members, items for review, approval, and adoption on tonight's consent agenda include payment of the bills, the minutes of the September 2nd, 2025 city council meeting, and the minutes of the September 2nd, 2025 executive session meeting. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, do we have any questions for Greg on the consent agenda? And if not, we would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
No second.
We have a motion by Rob and a second by Mike. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. consent agenda is approved. Anybody have anything else to come before council? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Mike, second by Becky. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. And meeting's adjourned at 5:55. Great. Are we live, Susan? Did it work? No? Okay, that's fine, just curious. We'll,
Recording it though, so it'll get uploaded later.
oh yeah. Oh, okay, so it's recording. Got it. All right, we'll take a couple minute break and we'll come back for the executive session.
Rebecca, are you gonna help out with the pig roast?
What's that?
You gonna help out with the pig roast? I saw you like,
No.
you just put,
Well, yeah. I'll go eat it.
there you go.
You gonna go?
No,
Yeah.
I had to check, cause I'm
I'll be there
cooking
later.
those next 2 nights after that, so.
Oh,
That's
gotcha.
why I was like, it was a Thursday or Friday. Cause if it's Friday and Saturday, I can't.
Not happening,
But Thursday, I could go enjoy a pig roast.
right?
Speaking of which, my hog got delivered this morning,
Oh.
so,
My quarter of a cow's coming soon.
yeah.
Is there any chance of moving the budget and finance meeting on the 25th a little bit earlier?
Cause of a certain hog roast.
Well, you want to go too.
You dang right I do.
As early as Rick can make it work.
On Thursday, the 25th?
Yeah.
Are ya?
Well, let's get you out of here earlier then too. I'm done with work by 3:30. So it's really up to Rick if it works for his schedule. Rick's busier than I am.
What time is the pig roast?
4 to 7.
4 to 7.
Nope, that's a no. Okay.
That's a little early.
The
We're
teeth grinding.
slammed at work. Well, we're scheduled for 5, I could go. This is 25th, right?
Yep.
I mean, it goes till 7, I mean, even if we went 5 to 6, we'll still get over there for it, for the end of it. You can't run out of, you can't have a hog roast and run out of hog. Okay, yes, you can.
See, if you get there a little after 6, the hog will be all gone.
It's happened.
Whole hog is no good.
Yeah. Whole hog is good. It's very good. I don't know, probably 4:30 is probably the earliest I could do if that
30
works.
minutes.
Yeah, that helps. Okay, we'll make the update and.
It'll just be the three of us?
Yeah.
Well, that's cozy.
Wow.
Are we gonna meet in that conference room so we can get in? Well, 4:30, there'll still be people here. Yeah, I just don't know where to go when I walk in here.
Yeah.
I know.
Schedule it in there.
Yeah, whatever works for you.
Okay, sounds good. So my son had a roast for his wedding.
Oh, yeah?
The
Yep.
part, across the reception.
I thought of it later.
I'll bet, yeah.
Okay, farm to table.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
right.
figured I'd just say it.
Awesome.
Great.
You people.
That sign that says welcome to Minnesota means keep on driving. Go right ahead. Thank you. All right, have a good night, you're welcome.
Lori, will you send a new calendar invite? Okay, then I'm just gonna delete this one. Thank you.
Shall we?
To modify.
All right.
Yeah, let's go.
We'll call the executive meeting to order here at 6 o'clock. And it looks like we're gonna talk about the e-bike draft ordinance first.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you know, we've been working through this process of establishing a ordinance related to some of the electric assisted bicycle regulations. Essentially what we learned through the process was that, we're not able to issue administrative citations for a majority of the e-bike violations because they are already identified in state statute under, the traffic code of 169. So, in an effort to try to make this concise, what you see in your packets for the electric assisted bicycle ordinance consists of essentially items that are not covered under state statute that the city of Becker could add as our own ordinance. So the regulations that are on the sheet in front of you that you have would be items that we would be able to enforce locally ordinance-wise with administrative citations, just like we would for some of our parking violations and other city ordinances. We did discuss a few of the options through our police committee prior to the little bit of the revamp. And the items on here are a mixture of things that we wanted to see here in Becker and some of the things that other communities who have established similar ordinances have had on there as well. So, what's on there right now isn't necessarily set in stone, and that's where I was hoping we could have that discussion with you tonight to see if there's anything on here that you would like to see that we missed potentially that's not already covered, and I can kind of answer those questions, or any of the regulations and rules on here that you don't want to see. A high level, just a quick run through. The subsection 2, section A discusses that basically all laws regarding e-bikes and bikes under Minnesota state statute apply. And so that's kind of us saying, hey, go to the statute, 169, this is where you can find all the regulations. That's both for electric assisted bikes and also bicycles, because they kind of fall, electric assisted bicycles fall under all the same rules as a bicycle, but then they have their own additional rules through state statute. And additional items are the rider of the electric assisted bicycle must slow their speed at sidewalk intersections with driveways or parking lots and use due care while crossing. That stems from a lot of the concern about e-bike riders who push that throttle and they'll go from Bank Street to Edgewood without letting go of said throttle. And you know, they're just hopping past all these driveways and intersecting points. So that would give us an opportunity to you know, educate the public on making sure that we're riding safely, reduces some of that risk of having collisions with pedestrians and vehicles pulling out of driveways, city hall parking lot, things like that. Any person under the age of 18 operating an electric assisted bicycle shall wear a helmet or headgear approved by the ANSI or the Department of Transportation. This is one of those items that a lot of the other communities have implemented just to try to add a safety measure for people that are under 18. Now, again, I remind you, 15 years of age or older to ride them is the legal standard for statute. So it'd really just be those 15 to 18-year-old that this would apply to, since technically speaking, a 14-year-old shouldn't be on the e-bike to begin with, so. And then under prohibited operation, on natural or artificial turf, play field, playground, court, ice rink, natural areas or structures. So this kind of just covers our gamut. We didn't want e-bikes to be running through the parks, right? We don't want them to be, you know, going through the playgrounds or on the park equipment or, you know, in the ice rink or the skate park and whatnot. So that kind of covers that. Don't want them running through the BAC fields and whatnot. Speed, at a speed greater than 15 mile an hour, we're not riding in a bike lane or legally riding on a roadway. So that's just kind of the sidewalk type riding. They are legally able to be ridden on the right-hand shoulder of the roadway per state statute. So We wouldn't really get into too much speed issue there unless they're driving faster than the speed limit could be a concern. But this would apply to that sidewalk, riding. And then lastly, it just states that the penalty would be punishable under 8.99, which depending on where we're at with city code and some of our ordinance, updates, that might change, but just for now, it's kind of a placeholder there. So just a rough overview of kind of some of the things that I've seen that we've had brief discussions on, and wanted to get some feedback on thoughts of those, or if there's other things that you were thinking you'd wanna see, and maybe it's already covered, and like I said, a good chunk is state statute, so we're much more limited than I thought we would be, in ordinance terms, but the bicycle statutes and regulations are very robust. And so that does give us, as the police department, a lot of opportunity to make contact at least. Now, it's a little tougher, like we've talked about in the past, finding somebody and issuing a $200 or $125 ticket to begin with for a violation of a bike law. So that's where like the education and whatnot and what the state statutes are would probably take precedence over doing that unless we have somebody who's a repeat offender.
That's one question I had. Would a warning like that be logged?
Yep, so it'd be logged internally in our records management system. If we have a contact with anybody, what we do is when we have contact again, our records management system will show our past contacts with them.
So if they got a warning 2 weeks ago and they're out popping the wheelie down the road, you would know that when you made contact?
Yep, when we use it a lot for traffic. If, hey, this person's been warned twice for speed in the last year, it's that time.
So how would it work with a 15-year-old that doesn't have a driver's license?
For
like contacts and warnings and things?
So they still would be, if we dealt with them, they would still be in our records management system at having a contact. So it's name based. So when we deal with Jim Smith and we are dealing with them again and we put that name in, it'll show that person's name and all their contacts. Yep.
And when you looked, I think a while ago I had sent you that statute where can we actually just prohibit them on sidewalks?
So we had some discussion about the sidewalk language, because we don't really have any language in our ordinance. What's a sidewalk? What's a shared use trail? And that. So we are able to restrict them on sidewalks. I believe that there's a caveat to it being in like a business district. And I'll be honest, I don't know how they describe or what meets that threshold of a business district. But off the top of my head, I wasn't thinking that Becker necessarily had an area where there's heavy foot traffic for like a business district where we would implement a ban, right? I'm trying to think of it. There's a city down towards the metro that's very popular and has like a business district with the old school, like everybody's a lot of walking foot traffic. So they banned the electric bikes in that district because of
Like on
that
the mall or
aspect.
the plaza or something?
Yep.
Questions for the chief?
Not really.
I'm not so interested in banning them as somehow, some of them, they run stop signs and, well, some of them go pretty fast. I'm more interested in safety rather than trying to control anything.
Right, and I'm more interested in pedestrian safety, because if a parent buys their 16-year-old and lets them cut loose, I mean, God forbid something happens, but that's.
I think some of them are a lot younger than 16.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, but I'm just trying to see if there's anything we can do to restrict the interaction between bicycles in general and pedestrians. I mean, you can ride them on the street.
So a 15-year-old does not need a license to operate on the street, they just have to be 15 years old?
Correct, and the operation on the street per state statute follows the same as a bicycle, so similar to kind of like how our snowmobile ordinance is, they have to ride on the far right-hand side of the road. They have to signal any lane crossings with a hand signal, they have to announce if they're gonna pass a pedestrian that's on foot. So all of these rules, like I said, if you were to take all the bicycle rules, there's a lot, so I think part of it on my end is I've tasked my officers with, hey, here's something we're seeing, let's look at what the rules are so we can be more proactive as well, cause there's a billion different bicycle regulations that we can enforce, right? Not saying we're gonna give a ticket for everybody, but if we want to, and we are standing at a corner and somebody on a bike or a e-bike goes past somebody on their left without saying that they're overtaking them on the left, that's a state statute violation that we can make that contact with. So, we have a lot of opportunity to have contact with people to try to curb some of that behavior, state statute wise. And I think part of that will be on my end. We're trying to get my guys educated on all the bike regulations as well. Primarily, we've been focusing right now on the biggest one that we're seeing a problem with, which is young kids. And so we've been making contact with juveniles under the age of 15 who are on them right now, notifying parents and explaining that they can't be ridden on the sidewalks or outside of their yard, basically. So that's kind of been our big push right now. And with school, we've been running into that a lot, obviously. It's kind of an odd deal, but the kids trying to get to school on the e-bike, but they can't. It's illegal. So we've been trying to make contact there as well.
So they actually can't ride one to school.
And that's like all, cause I remember there was like different levels of the e-bikes.
Yep. And so
So
the 15 is,
15
there's a
across
class
the
1,
board?
2, and 3, depending on your motor size, their
Okay.
wattage, how fast they can go. That 15 is across the board.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's been our primary focus, and probably our primary issue would be with like probably that age group of just about 15 riding them. And so educating parents has been equally as fun.
And you keep pushing out, like on Facebook, some of these state statutes, so parents, especially the ones that you're gonna be more enforcement.
Yeah, and I think,
on.
we've pushed out a little bit on the e-bike specific stuff, but yeah, that's a good point. I think I dove really deep into bicycle law the last month of my life. And there's a lot, like there is a ton of
Yeah.
crazy bicycle rules that I didn't know about, right?
It's odd, cause if you know anybody who rides a bike, they don't follow any.
Well,
of
and
them.
then, yeah. So, no, but so in all, right, it's one of those things, you don't use it, you lose it. And can't say that in my career I've had a ton of bicycle related issues. So now,
Of them, you're probably just gonna go, well,
oh,
it's a
absolutely.
rule, but
There's definitely
it's-
some rules on there that you
yeah.
just kind of like roll your
You're
eyes
not
at,
gonna
right?
bother
That-
with, but the things that
Hey.
you really do need to focus on, I think educating people,
Especially the age, like as a parent, I don't think I would know that.
I wouldn't
bought
know
that
Well,
that.
and we
kid.
pushed that out at least once, if not twice already,
Mm-hmm.
because we knew that was gonna be the big struggle, is I talked to a parent that spent $500 on each e-bike for their kid, or $1,500 on each e-bike for their kids. So they got $3,000 on e-bikes, and then I said, hey, by the way, they can't ride them anywhere but your yard. And that stinks, but we've gotten to the point where obviously we're having these discussions. That's a primary complaint that we get from the public. So now here we are and trying to find the best way to navigate dealing with it, while also, those people that do ride them to work or, whatever they need to utilize them for and use them in a responsible manner can continue to do so. I feel that's also important as well. And that kind of goes to your talk about like a ban and how many people there are, elderly and whatnot, that utilize them for outdoor recreation in a responsible way. So,
My 6-year-old granddaughter got an electric dirt bike for her birthday.
that-
I'm like,
and if it's an electric dirt bike, that is definitely illegal because it doesn't have pedals. So, there's a lot of those around as well.
yep, they don't live in town, so.
Yeah, well, there you go. I've had 2 contacts in the last few weeks with kids that I stopped for riding e-bikes, and both of them were actually from the county, and their parents brought them to like friends' houses and stuff in the city, and then they rode from there, but they were out in the county. So we had
They're riding home on like 23.
no, they got brought. So like the parent loaded up the bike, and because I said that, I'm like, you rode from where I was,
Yeah.
this was up by Briggs Lake, and he's like, no, I got dropped off. I'm like, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better
Yeah.
because that's a jaunt. But ultimately, I think that a combination of my knowledge now of bike laws I never knew existed, right? Me spreading that to the officers, educating them, is going to dramatically increase our contacts with bicyclists and e-bike riders as it is, to educate, like you said, on what the rules are. So these are specifically outside of statute, and kind of those extra little pieces that weren't really covered, that if we wanna see, we can include in our ordinance. And, if not, that's okay as well. So I kind of put them all on here that we'd discussed and thought about internally and through some of our police committee meetings. And we can kind of go with whatever you'd like on that.
So the penalties, the penalties are all, the dollar amounts are set by state statute, are those minimums, I'm assuming?
No, so what, these here, well, state statute ones would be, yep, so that'd be, anything outside of this would be a state ticket. So that would be identified in state statute as a payable ticket. Most start at like $40, but then after you add in the law library fees and everything else, you're up to about $100. So, these would be ordinance violations. So, I've been working with Jacob a lot, with some of the ordinance, restructuring of our payments and whatnot. The plan would probably be to have this fall in line with that, so we would have a designated, $50 ticket or whatever it is, that's payable by city admin ticket, so. For these on this paper.
So because it would be a does that count as a moving violation, so for
No.
15-year-old?
Does not count as a moving violation, cause it's not a vehicle.
What if they get in an accident?
It's a great question.
Get back to the books. Back to the books.
It's not a vehicle, I mean, I'm guessing there'd probably be some form of, I don't know how that would work for insurance wise or responsibility. We would do a state accident report, but we don't assign fault in Minnesota, so. They usually, insurance companies kind of fight out the actual damages portion of it.
For medical, we don't assign fault, but
For what?
for medical, we don't assign fault, but the insurance companies will fight.
Oh, yeah, they will, they have at it, yeah, and that's usually what we tell people is the insurance companies will fight this out for you.
Yeah.
Which is nice for me, cause I don't have to get involved in trying to determine how much fault one person had over another, and, we can issue, so, let's say, a cyclist blows a stop sign, right? So in the bicycle statute, the bicyclists have to, if they're on the roadway, they have to follow the roadway rules, so we can issue them a stop sign violation. I don't know, that's a great question, I don't know how that would work, like driver's record, if that would apply then, because it was, but we can issue
Be a
some of
little
those,
scary.
we can issue some of those similar type violation, state citations for things like that.
I had a bicyclist hit my parked car in front of my office, and about $4,000 damage to my car.
You would actually, here's, for the number, and I don't get a lot, but the vast majority of car versus bike crashes that I have are bicyclists running into cars because they're not paying attention
probably still
in a
blame
parking
you.
lot. Yep.
Oh, he was furious.
I remember
mean,
that.
The ambulance is coming to my
Oh, no.
office, and he's sitting in my office, and I was parked legally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
He was
uncommon.
mad at you
he
because
was
he hit.
very mad. He was really mad because he spilled his shake from Val's.
Well, I would have been mad. What about his fries? Does he still have his fries?
Yeah, I don't know about our fries.
Crime in itself.
Fries.
Hard hat,
That's,
two of them coming
yeah,
down.
it's covered under state statute, I think.
Yeah. I heard
Yeah.
nothing from him.
Yeah,
If you're on the road, you have to follow the stop sign. What if we have a posted trail?
if you have a stop sign on the trail, same applies. Yep, because we've talked about that loosely too, and,
Putting
at
some on.
streets of adding some pedestrian trail stop signs at certain intersections. And they would, again, they'd have to go through the normal stop on that as well. Yep,
Yep. So we did have an opportunity at the round table. The school did express a willingness that if we can get something put together, it's probably too late for this fall. I mean, we're not that far away from winter, but they would allow us to provide some, like a lesson for the advisory curriculums. So they could actually be taught in school when you're in the city of Becker, here's the ordinance, here's what an e-bike is, and I think that would be a really good place to start. And just tell the kids, listen, we're allowing quite a bit here, right? And if it's up to you, if you and your friends, they're gonna police each other better than any of us can and say, don't screw it up for the rest of us. So,
Well, and we could even if you didn't do Becker specific, the state statute stuff would apply everywhere. So
Right.
you live in Palmer Township, you live in
Yep.
Santiago, anywhere, all that would apply there. So we could even just do them, even if it wasn't Becker specific, just the
Yep.
minimums, which would cover most of it, so.
we could, here's the bike safety, and then in addition, if you're in city limits, here it is.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's a lot of bike information that I've taken in.
You will be my caller friend.
Well, for what's worth, I've been called by 2 separate agencies because they knew I was working on this too, saying, "Hey, I know you've been working on this. Can you give me some of this?" And,
What do you
and that.
know?
So, yep. So I'll take that.
be
Right?
like,
It's
"What
nice
do you
to
got?"
be nice to say that you're known for knowing things,
SME.
right? Yeah. That and senior frauds. I don't know. Those are my two niche areas.
I just like sharing the education piece. I mean,
Yeah.
you could take whatever you share on Facebook and even post it at the community center, someplace that maybe parents and kids are together at. And I don't know, the more you put it out there, the more likely people are to absorb the information.
For sure.
It's easy. We can up the social media education and have it shared. I know Tony's really good about that when we put things out, and even the school.
The
I just
school has those TVs with the messages that, and I know sometimes even like there was a judge the one time that bought, so they must sell it or must make access to it. So I mean, if you had something quick that could, must be 15 to ride an e-bike or, something
Sure.
like that. For more information, see this page or,
Yeah.
something. Gotta have a scan code on it though. It can't just put a website, cause.
yeah, it's gotta have a QR.
Yep,
Or they can just,
gotta have a QR. There's.
yeah. Oh, those are good. Ordinance specific on this. Any thoughts? Things you don't like on it, things that you do. I know Rick, you had mentioned when we met in police committee about, you weren't sure about the helmets. So I put it on here as, these are the things we had talked about, and then figured I'd bring it back to kinda have that discussion if you wanted to.
What didn't you like about the helmets?
I don't know, I'm not a, for, I don't know, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, I guess I'm not huge on helmets. I won't die on the hill, but, I'm not huge on forcing people to wear helmets. I think it's self-correcting behavior, but to force it, I guess I'm not huge on that.
Any other thoughts? Or chief? So what
So,
would be
yeah,
your
so
next step?
Next step was, tonight was just to kinda, if we needed to make adjustments and changes, things you wanted to see or didn't wanna see. From here, then we would proceed with the normal process of getting this implemented, which is gonna be, what, the notification of 10-day notification, yeah.
Yep,
Sorry, you can.
and then at the next available meeting, we would put it on for approval. I think we can make the second work, is that, or seventh? I think we have enough time.
Cause we have to do that, yeah, we should have,
You have to get it out this week.
yeah. And like I said, this wasn't, by the time we got through all the education and the research on it, it's not a very robust.
So that's a small little piece of paper for the amount of work you
I,
did.
that, well, and it started a lot, it started much bigger, and then, and it just got to be like, we were copying the state statute in ordinance, and then that got messy, so it's like, let's just take all that out, stick to what we want that's different, and this is kinda what we have.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, as we saw, just going through the other stuff, how much
Uh-huh.
stuff we copied in there from the 1995 state
Yep.
statute when it was there, and then it changes, you gotta go, oh crap, I gotta go in and change that.
Yeah, there's a couple other in like the PD type code Jacob and I have referenced that it probably will need a little more, once over on as well, and we'll work through those things as we go. Okay. Well, we'll plan on that. If somebody has something afterwards that you want, just send me an email and we can chat about it. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to the Coalition of Utility Cities Priorities discussion.
So I didn't get any, I didn't know if we were gonna even scratch this or what, but I didn't get any other information from, I was expecting more information from, our lobbyist Shane. I didn't get any more, so, I don't know if we wanna raw dog with what we got, or if we wanna wait for more, information, I guess, it's.
I think it would help the discussion if we had something that was included to discuss, so we can push this out to a future exec session.
Okay. I can bug him again too,
I can as well.
okay, that's.
Okay. Roundtable?
Nope.
I have one item I'm just gonna pass down, picture for people to look at. So I have been contacted about the flag quite often, and one thing, so I've discussed, I'm talking about the state flag here. So I've discussed with Greg, like in the past, what the city logo, the origin of it, and kind of how we're using that to market it, and I know we do put it on some attire and things like that. But I would like to see us maybe look at displaying the city logo, as much as we can, because I know money was spent on it, and it's kind of a branding thing, not that we're a business, but, just understanding it. So this would be just a rendition of what a flag would look like. And so I know it's been a thing that's hit the news a lot. I've been contacted about it a ton. I'll just be honest, my personal opinion is if the original Minnesota flag was controversial, I think the current one that they replaced it with is just as divisive and controversial. And I've had a lot of people, by a lot, I'm gonna say 6 to 8, that have said they would like to come speak to council, cause they would like to see it not displayed. And I didn't
State
wanna.
flag?
The state flag. And I've said, I don't wanna turn it into a huge debate. I think we do have more important things, but as I looked at this, I thought an acceptable alternative would be replacing that with a city flag, because I don't know how you can be anti-city. So it's just a
I know a
thought.
few. No.
Well, yeah, let me start with, I'll retract that last statement. Hopefully anybody that lives here wants Becker to do well and to do better. So I know it can be a divisive topic, and I don't want it to be divisive, and that's why I've encouraged people to let this discussion take place without debating the merits of the original one and how the new one was created. And if you follow the story, it's definitely been a statewide issue, so.
Wouldn't we be better served to promote doing something about the current state flag rather than not honoring the state flag? I mean, it's, the city of Becker is part of the state of Minnesota. Encourage people to start writing letters or whatever, contacting their representatives and complaining about it, that they don't like it, and come up with some alternatives.
They feel strong enough, they're probably already doing that.
Yeah, I think people probably already are doing that quite a bit. I just looked at it as a cost thing. There was some counties where it cost them millions of dollars when things switched.
Yeah.
So are we one election away, and why are we spending money on something we're not statutorily required to do, is the bottom line. Courthouses and federal or state
State offices would
state
have.
offices, county offices are required, I believe, the city's not. So I just looked at
Is the
this.
school required?
I don't think so.
Because they're funded by the state.
I don't remember ever seeing an original or a new one at any of the schools, but I could be wrong. I don't want to speak like an expert on that. I just know we're not required, so it wouldn't cost any more money to display this in the future when the ones we have wear out. And it would just be I don't know, I guess I look at it as more of a neutral stance that we're pro for the city of Becker.
I don't have a problem with the city flag, I just question if, tradition is to fly the state flag. I'm not opposed or,
Well, I mean, you have 6 or 8 people who've complained about it, but if you take it down, are you gonna get 30 or 40 that say, why aren't we?
there's a lot of people
Recognizing our
complain
state
about it, but don't actually file a complaint. I've heard several people talk about that they don't like
Well,
it.
I'm just saying, we're gonna have a lot of people, again, 6 to 8. In my short 9-month experience, we don't have a lot of people show up, so to me, that's a significant number that they're gonna come and want to be heard, and I just thought this would be a proactive way of looking at it and saying, let's promote
So
the city of
where
Becker.
would you envision flying it? Here? Here?
Well, or that one could be, it doesn't really fly.
Yeah.
I don't care if that one's removed. I think we only have 2 at the city. We have one here, and we probably have one at Pebble Creek.
There is one at Pebble Creek.
Is there one at Fire Hall?
Or is that just in there?
I think there is.
If it is, it's the original right now.
Well, the one at, the state flag at Pebble Creek has fallen apart unless it's recently been
You
replaced.
got a new one.
It was tattered, so.
Yeah, I got no problem flying the city flag, and I have no particular, attraction towards this flag, or the, kind of the process behind it either. Part of that, the ship has sailed, it isn't, you know, it's a little late to, you know, start that fight, but,
Right.
you know, what can we do? You know, we can fly the city of Becker flag, which should be more, you would say more encompassing of everybody. I couldn't tell you how many, I don't think I know anybody that's ever said they like the new one or they appreciate the process for it, so I mean, I can't even count, I guess, if I think of people I know or just people who've brought it up in random conversations. I mean, whether they're all gonna show up here, I doubt it, but, you know, because it wasn't our vote, you know, so I can't see them showing up here and saying, you guys should change it. They know, most people would know that that's not what you do. But at the same time, as far as people that don't appreciate it, I couldn't even tell you how many.
Well, yeah. I mean, this whole thing could start a trend where other cities do the same thing. Next thing you know, nobody's flying the flag.
They're already doing it.
I bet you there's close to 100 already that are not flying the new one. And to me, it is a big economic thing. I'm glad we don't have the old or the new incorporated into our police patches. And like I said, I think it was maybe Crow Wing County. I'm more opposed to it from a financial standpoint. It's gonna cost them millions of dollars to change things. So I would like to see us comply with statute and promote the city of Becker.
How much does it cost to make flags?
I think we got the quote, it depended on nylon or polyester, and it was, I think.
It's not significant.
And it's similar to if we were buying new ones of the others.
I would say whatever flags we need, it's under $1,000.
Well, and then I'm guessing the first time you have one made is a setup fee, and then once that's done, the replacements would be less, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Most of it depended on the size of the flag and is it nylon, is it polyester, is it cotton, whatever it's gonna be. And it would probably be different applications, right? We'd have a different flag material flying outside than what we have sitting in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just would have to take an inventory and then what we would need, that's what we would get.
Are there any local companies that?
Not that I'm aware of. I did check around with another city and the company they used went out of business. And I think that one was within the state, the one I contacted. I'm not sure where they're out of, to be honest. I don't recall. Could be.
I don't have a problem with
I
it.
don't have a problem with it. Prefer to see this, so. What color would it be?
It would be black with the speckle on there, I think, is pixelation from the camera. It would be solid black with the white lettering.
Okay.
I thought the white flag would get really dirty in
Yeah.
a hurry.
Yeah. Is there anything about cause it's, the POW flag is black, and you see sometimes when people fly 3 flags, that'll be black as well. Is there, is black or white are only 2 colors in terms of marketing? I mean, we want it to be a dark color, definitely, because of the dirt. But
Yeah,
Dark blue.
I think it's always is black. I'm not, we have a style guide with all this. Yep.
Like Chris's shirt.
Fly Chris for a while.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
You just use your shirt.
Yeah, we would, there's the expense. Yeah. New
After they
pole.
sit out in the
Always
weather,
shut.
they look like my shirt.
Yeah, you could do it. I'll kick in for that
Yeah. No
US
skipping ab
Olympic
day.
team there.
Yeah, I'd say go for it.
You need anything else, Greg?
Nope, I got direction.
Anything else from anybody? Oh, Mr. Knutson.
looking at the calendar and with the motion you made tonight, do you want me to go ahead and pour the concrete and get ready over at the community center? They need 7 to 10 days, before they would install. And with the post office going away the 31st, which is a Friday, I just, it
Are
doesn't
we
put
for
us,
sure the,
October, yeah.
yeah, are we for sure, is this for sure, because we passed this resolution, this is for sure, I mean, if we pour that concrete, what if they say, oh, sorry, we're going with this other person?
It would be in line with what we've done at the other side, the west side of the backside entrance. We went to the curb line. We didn't do it here because of the light poles. We didn't want to interfere with them, people walking. So if we poured the concrete, it wouldn't look weird or out of place. But what I don't want to do is get to the 11th hour, they haven't made a decision, and I can't move that quickly. So I could have it poured probably by the end of next week. We need that 7 to 10 day cure time before they would give it, and then that gives them 3 to 4 weeks to get their stuff shipped and installed.
So do they wanna put like the bolts, do they wanna put them in while it's still wet, or do they?
No,
they just
we wouldn't do that. We would just sleeve it. We'd drill it and you tell them to drill it and sleeve it. It's the easiest way to do it, and it's the cleanest way to do it.
And it's possible they might wanna use existing concrete pads. They said there are some of those, but literally my email said one of his guys is telling him they need concrete, the other guy is telling him they're using existing pads. I mean, it's always a 50-50 coin flip, so.
Well-
Would people be comfortable with it if we,
If we pour the concrete and we just tell them, here's where it's gonna go, can't we do that?
We can, I mean, I just wanna make sure that we're not falling behind the time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Can't tell them anything,
Yeah.
so.
no.
As long as it
I
will
could
make
try to get an
sense.
answer, tell him we need to know by Friday, maybe I can shoot him, or I'll call him tomorrow morning first thing and say, hey, we need to know.
So then we can get on the schedule and we wanna be ready for them. We wanna give them as big a window as they can, but I don't wanna all of a sudden, again, we're predicting rain for 4 days. We don't know if that's real or not. That could set us back, so we need a little fudge time if we can, but I just wanna make sure that I know, that we're not left holding the bag, and one more reason they can point back to the city to say, see, you guys don't even know what you're doing. So it's not the end of the world if we pour the concrete and never gets used, other than the expense, but
Well, yeah, it kind of fits in there anyway.
it would be fine, I don't, like I said, I don't think, it would kinda match the west side, we're not gonna, and I've skinnied it up, so we're gonna leave some rock, and we'll just do as much concrete as we need for the 7, actually I'd do 18 units. They said there's 17 that would be coming. So I'm not gonna do the whole thing, so it just brings that cost back down. And then we'll have labor. The labor's not gonna be incremental labor. We're not pushing overtime. So we'll just displace a different project until we can, get this done and get out there. So the hard cost is going to be, some of the sonotubes to go around the posts, the concrete itself, and then a couple of signs we could do after the fact that we would just put no parking. We wouldn't paint the curb until the CBUs are up. And we wouldn't put signs in until they're actually up.
Yep.
But
I'm fine if we
I
just,
guess, yeah.
yeah, I mean, as long as it's something where we'd be okay with it if they walked away and never did it and we're fine with it, then if it's.
I think it would look fine over there aesthetically, it'll look fine, and I think we can continue to pull that cost down, so we could be closer into hard cost, $1,500 for concrete, I'm guessing, in supplies, somewhere in there. So, I can hold off till Friday, we'll tentatively put it on the schedule, if we don't hear anything or we get confirmation, we'll just look to try and get it done next week.
I mean, even if you get a confirmation Friday, it could change by Saturday, so
Yeah.
at that point, why wait?
Okay,
Let's,
so we can just plan for it, if you're comfortable with that, I'll just move on it, and unless you get a definitive no, we'll just move, and this is what we're gonna do.
And I'll talk to the other business owner too, to make sure he didn't get a signed. Well, the email last week was sign this and send it to me, and I'm like, so we're doing this? Well, no, we haven't made a decision yet. I'm like, why would I sign?
Why am I signing it?
I mean, the other thing, Greg, I'll include the, so we can put it in the next packet, is the 2 senators did write a letter to the postmaster, and they responded, and I'll make sure you get a copy of that letter. You won't believe it. The post office 100% completely blamed the city for everything, and me personally, because they said they notified me in May of 2024.
Really?
Yep,
they were really ahead of the game.
they were.
Considering you filed in August.
I know, but, so, I just think you'll enjoy that. I wanna share the pain a little bit, so everybody can read that. All right. Anything else?
On that lovely note,
Let's go home. 6:40. We will adjourn the executive session. Thank you, everybody.
So what's this here, so this is just the housing study?
Yeah.
So we're just going out for,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I know what the other one
And
was,
like,
so.
we changed a little bit of